Madhya hridayakashe sadanandamayo guruhu udetu sadatam samyak ajnana timirarunaha. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi. Om Tats. Harihi. Om Tats. Jaya Guru. We are having the last session. I would like you to remember where from we started and what was the crux point, the beginning point of Bhagavad Gita dialogue in the war field. I always say Bhagavad Gita is a historic composition. This you should not forget. The entire Mahabharata is the second and the larger epic of our country. Epic is always a historic writing, but that writing has got its own style and standard. When history is written in a very specific manner, then it becomes an epic. The content and the writing both are undoubtedly epic. The first epic was Ramayana. It is about the prince and the king of Ayodhya, Ikshvaku dynasty, which ruled India for a long time. That dynasty is the solar dynasty. In addition, we also have a lunar dynasty to which Hastinapura and the others belong. Ramayana was written in the very, very prehistoric, remotest period, and yugas transpired before Mahabharata was composed. One was about the solar dynasty, as I said. The second is about the lunar dynasty. The human society had changed considerably. The human society is not a block of stone. It is always changing and transforming. Values also will change. Sometimes when a political party changes here, you find the syllabus of the schools is changed. Even eternal values are set aside and new political values are inserted. Values are always contemporary and eternal. Contemporary values will transform, but eternal values will not transform at all. And what are the eternal values? Values belonging to the human personality, particularly the emotional mind and the rational intelligence, the asserting ego. The mind, intelligence and ego constitute the inner human personality. The body, along with all the senses and the other organs, is only an external counterpart. It is absolutely inert and insentient. It is made up of matter and energy alone. Both matter and energy are insentient. How can an inert body function? It has to be animated and activated every moment. This animation and activation come from within. And that is the inner personality, whose ultimate substratum is what we call the soul or God. This I would like you to understand. Like so many other instances in Mahabharata, which describes and narrates the decline and fall of the Kuru dynasty. Will you remember? The decline and fall of the Kuru dynasty. This is the subject Vedavyasa wrote about, using about 1,25,000 Sanskrit verses, of which Gita consists of only 700. So out of the 1,25,000 verse history he has written, Bhagavad Gita is only a small dialogue that transpired in the war field of Kurukshetra after the war cries were raised and the discharge of arrows had not commenced. In between, about 2.5 hours, what transpired in the battlefield, that is recorded here as part of the original writing Mahabharata. So it is a historic record. It's a historic writing. Because it is prehistoric, nobody can generally speak about it. So far as Mahabharata is concerned, it transpired 5,155 years ago. And this is historically verified. We have got records for it. The subject of discussion is Arjuna's inability, Arjuna's confrontation, Arjuna's miserable crumbling in the battlefield. He was holding his Gandiva firmly, but the Gandiva slipped from his hand. His whole body was trembling, mouth was drying. Intelligence was saying, this is a sinful war, you should not fight. Then what is left aside in him? The trembling body, the drying mouth, and the confused and distorted intelligence. What else is left in him? So he found no redress for him, no anchor for him. Unable to stand, he sat, leaving the bow and arrow. The only person he could look to was Krishna, because there was nobody else, and Krishna was a charioteer. According to our tradition, any charioteer is supposed to be very intelligent. Sometimes he will be a fighter, more qualified and more skillful than the master of the chariot himself. So when the master goes into a depression, doubt or indecision, the charioteer is supposed to revive him. You know, in Mahabharata, there is an instance where Shalya was supposed to be a great fighter. He chose to be the charioteer for Karna. He was supposed to join Pandavas, but somehow these people received him first and took him away. So Yudhishthira was telling him, though you will fight, you will be charioting for Karna, when the crucial time comes, please do character assassination of Karna. Tejovadham. And he did it. So charioteer has got a very crucial role. Here also Krishna played the same crucial role. But it was not about fighting, but it was about reviving Arjuna's personality, empowering it, enlightening it, reinforcing it with the necessary wisdom, clarity, insight and resolve. Are you following me? Here the elements to be provided for Arjuna was nothing material or external. He already has the Gandiva, the famous bow. He also has Pashupadastra. But with all these things, he was unable to fight the war. He crumbled miserably. Unable to stand, he sat. Then Krishna admonished him, as I told you. As a result of the admonition, in 64 letters, Arjuna picked up. He said, my sympathy is misplaced. I will not speak of it anymore. But I have some genuine ethical doubts, moral doubts, conflicts of the mind and the heart. How can I fight my teacher and grandfather, who are still loving me? The moment I see them, I should fall at their feet and worship. Such people are standing in my opposite camp as commanders-in-chief. If they were somewhere in the corner here and there, I could have avoided confronting them and finished the war. When they were left alone, I could have fallen at the feet and sought their blessings. Now that is not the case. They are right in front, commanding the whole army. The army is going to move a step only under their command. So without confronting them, I cannot penetrate the army. There is no question of fighting at all. I am not able to fight. Krishna, do you have a solution for me? What I want, he specifically said. First of all, he said, Karpanya dosho bhagata swabhavaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yat shreyasyan nishchidam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prabhannam. I am confused. I am not able to think well. And from whatever you have said, I understand, I suffer from narrowness of mind. I cannot lift my mind away from the ordinary level to a higher and loftier level. Both of us are facing the same army and consequences are alike for both of them. You do not seem to be having any conflict or fear, but I have. So the trouble is with me, not with the object situation or what we confront. So my trouble is I suffer from narrowness of perception, narrowness of outlook, imbecility. So I am not able to think what is right and proper. So it's a confusion of the intelligence, a vacillating or oscillating intelligence he had. Then the second point is, what I want is removal of my grief. Grief is a mental condition. It is scorching my whole body. So you can understand, normally grief is inner. Arjuna's grief was so powerful and overwhelming that the whole body and senses were scorched by it, he says. Yachogam uchoshanam indriyanam. So the grief should be removed. I should be comforted and cooled. I must be able to take back my weapon if at all. That is one. Secondly, tell me about the everlasting good Shreyas. The word Shreyas, as I told you, it indicates moksha. It indicates God realization and liberation. Now these are the 2 points of view. You can be a seeker of liberation and seeker of removal of grief in any life situation. Arjuna is making the war front to be an occasion for him to seek liberation. Liberation will come not from anything else, only from self-knowledge, the knowledge of God, the knowledge and realization of the self. If you can comfort me and cool me and tell me anything about Shreyas, so that I will revive my spirits and I will be able to get up. Krishna, open your mouth, otherwise close, shut up. This much Arjuna said. Krishna smilingly took up the discussion. When somebody is grieving, you also start grieving. What can you advise him? So when somebody is grieving, you must have the presence of mind not to be aggrieved and if necessary to smile. So he started his instruction in a smiling manner. I am happy, Arjuna, though I did not tell you. I was always with you, fulfilling all your desires, going out of the way, even displeasing my own brother and family. But I was waiting for an occasion when I could deliver you the real message, so that your personality will be strengthened. You will have the spiritual perception and enlightenment, and necessarily the fulfillment that it will bestow. But all along you never asked me. Now at least in the war front, not in the 11th hour. 11 hours and 59.99 recurring minutes are over. At that point of time, at least you sought to inquire in this manner. I am very happy, very happy. So he started speaking. He first of all introduced the soul, as I said. The personal identity of everyone is the I. That I is a changeless presence. Everything in us is changing. In the whole world also everything is changeful. The only changeless presence you can experience, you are experiencing in the world is your own I. I was a child. See, you take a photograph of your childhood and continuously take, you will find bodily you have transformed fully. Only the inner personality, the I, remains changeless. So he says, it is never known to non-exist. Existence continues to exist. It never becomes the reverse. I was there, I am there, and I shall be there. As the I has survived all the preceding conditions and states, it will again continue. Existence will exist. It will never become the reverse. So never think of death for anybody. Death is a biological event. Birth is a biological event. Is there anybody in this assembly who says, I was born? Can you say from your experience? Tell me, your mother told you that you are born of me, this is your father, I am your mother, you are my child, you accepted it. Nobody's birth is one's experience, and nobody's death also is never a person's experience. Have you seen or heard of anybody who said, I have died? We say X has died, Y has died. When he is living, have you seen him? You have seen only the body. You have not seen the inner presence which says my body, my body, my body. Who is that I which says my body with reference to the body? My world, my God, my everything. Where is the I? So that knows no extinction. Then he also explained what is life. Life is an interaction between the senses and the objects throughout. The entire wakefulness, our senses interact with the objects, and when the interaction goes on, automatically in the mind level, sukha and dukkha, the alternates will crop up. The sukha dukkhas are irresistibly generated as long as you are interacting in the world with your senses. So they need not be created or caused. They cannot be eliminated also. Then what can be done? You can accept both as necessary in life, drop your preference for sukha and dissolve your prejudice for dukkha. Accept both of them alike. It is sukha that brings dukkha, and it is dukkha that brings. Without dukkha, you cannot have sukha. So every dukkha is preparing you for sukha. And whatever sukha is there, it will transit and it will bring you dukkha. So is sukha desirable? Is dukkha hateable? Your job is finished. And sukhas and dukkhas are the only experience in the world. There is no third experience. You comfortably slept. The day was comfortably spent. No, I was unhappy. So I was happy, I am unhappy. So I was in happiness, I am also in unhappiness. Who is that I who became happy and transited from happiness to unhappiness? Again it transits from unhappiness to happiness. So there is an I there, which says that I am happy and I am unhappy. The I-ness and the am-ness are the same in both. Similarly, I am rich, I am poor. I was rich, I had, I don't have. So the I remains the same. Now your introspection should be over this identity of the human. In a rich man it is present. In a poor man it is present. In man, in the child, in the woman, in the sick, in the healthy. In everyone the I is uniformly present. And you have to realize it. As you realize happiness and unhappiness, can you not realize who is happy and who is unhappy? If you can notice a walking person, you can also notice that which walks. The legs are walking. Without noticing the legs, can there be a walking? So if you are experiencing happiness, you must also be able to experience the experiencer of happiness. How can you miss the experiencer, the subject, noticing the walking, the object? The object can exist only in relation to the subject. The objects are variable, but the subject is never varying. In the whole of my life, I the subject, it remains ever so. Only the objects are variant and variable. Now your focus should be on this I. Understanding of this I will set at naught all sufferings that you have in this world. All sufferings. God is a synonym of the self. Brahman and such other words are also synonyms of the self. Suppose God comes before you. Should you not be there to see Him? So between God who comes and you who are going to see, tell me who is first present. When I am present, God comes to me. And who is saying that God has come? His presence has to be certified by me. See, I have to certify that He has come. And He has gone and He has blessed me. Poor God. This is Hinduism, Baba. This is India. This is our culture. This is our culture. We are unshakable. We are unassailable. We cannot be confronted by anything, undone by anything. Our body may be cut into pieces, but the soul will never be touched. We have enough of atom bombs, America has. Even 10% or 25% of it when exploded, the entire earth will be pulverized. The planet will not be there. Like that, every star in the womb of space can be destroyed. But can space be destroyed? Greater is the truth about the expansive self. At least I want you to go away from here with the confidence that you will never be undone in this world. The world can never add a plus to you, nor inflict a minus on you. The world remains at a distance. I have to see and interact with it. If I don't interact, poor world will remain there, unseen, unfelt, unheard, unsmelt, untouched. Sensations belong to the senses, not to the sensed objects. I see a mountain. Mountain never sees me. I see the mountain. I take an imprint of it in my mind. And my mind imprint alone I see. My mind imprint alone. Do you ever see the mountain? Every day the sun is rising. At what distance? Lakhs of kilometers away. Have you gone to the sun? Is the sun coming to you? Then how do you see? Our mind takes an imprint of the sun. Except this mental imprint of the objects, you have no way of interacting with the objects. So we are interacting with the subject imprints of all objects. If that is the truth, is your interaction subjective and with the subjective imprints, or do you ever interact with an object? Do you ever interact with an object? No. Do you ever see an object? Or do you see the subject imprint of it? The whole world in your mind is sukha and dukkha. When the sukha dukkha's you are able to approach with an even mind, and both of them are evenized, my dear souls, you have won over the world. Because this great grand world can produce only sukha dukkha's, and they are not producing, your senses are producing. Our senses decipher the world. What? The world is X, the world is Y. This is black, this is blue, this is white. Who says? Our eyes, our senses. So we and our senses determine the existence, plight, fate, and the reaction of the world. This is a wonderful lesson. Wonderful lesson. Yesterday I told you about yajna. Now I will touch a little upon worship. Though I say it's a historic book, many subjects are discussed, devotion also is discussed. But I would like you to understand the position of Krishna. He was a guru, a teacher, and Arjuna was his disciple. Who anointed him as the teacher? Arjuna. Teach me. I am your shishya. You are my guru. So the entire dialogue is between a student and a teacher, a disciple and his master. Don't give any other position to Krishna. I will not like you. Krishna had only a body, a mind, an intelligence, and ego, and the soul. Tell me whether you have these or not. He realized them. You don't realize. You only know the external magnitude of the world. You have never plunged into yourself where your mind pictures all this magnitude. As I always say, you see a mustard, you see a mango, you see a coconut, you see a jackfruit, you see a mountain, you see the sea, and you see the endless expanse of the sky and stars. Tell me, where are you seeing? So is the mind more expansive than the objects apparently it sees? Are you aware of it? No. If you are aware of it, why are you a beggar before this world? Begging. See, it is your mind that reflects the world, that projects the world. So the mind is the master. So live in this world as a master, not as a slave. Physically we are small. In the same way as a human being, we have another heredity. Inwardly we are the master or the mistress. So live in this world as a master or a mistress. That is why Vasishtha says, be a Mahakarta and a Mahabhokta. Be a mighty performer and a mighty enjoyer and a mighty sufferer. What? See, Arjuna and Krishna, they are going to kill 4.5 million warriors minus 10. Can you imagine the suffering? Who can do it? A small And a petty mind cannot do it. The mind has to be godly. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachadi tadaham bhakti upahridam ashnami prayatatmana. This is a very common verse. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachadi tadaham bhakti upahridam ashnami prayatatmana. 9th chapter 26, you take the verse. See, we are thinking of worshipping God. What is meant by worship? What are you going to do? You are going to praise Him? You are going to give Him something? What will you give? The objects of the world. He has created all of them. Suppose you give anything to God, will He take it? Does He have a hand? Please answer me. Does He have a face and eyes to see? Or is He somebody like omnipresent, the space? A thing that is omnipresent, will it have legs and feet, hands and ears? So God is an omnipresent entity. Such an omnipresent entity, where will you offer Him? He is as much in you as outside, equally present in the objects that you are giving, but nevertheless we make a token of offering. No objection, it's a good practice. But it should be done in which manner? Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam. Don't go for jumbo offers. God doesn't need any jumbo offer from you. Patra means leaf, pushpa means flower, phala means fruit. Or if you don't have anything, simply take a spoonful of, half spoonful of water and just say, my dear God, please accept this as a token. You don't need it, I know. But I am doing it, mark my words, I am doing it to feel the impact of devotion in my heart. When I take a little article and think of you and I offer you, I feel like when somebody guest comes, I offer him something. In the same manner I am offering. So there is a greater touch of feeling in my heart. That is why I give. Please accept it. He says, I accept. What do I accept? Accept. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachadi. You should give it to me with devotion. Tell me, where is this devotion? Is it in the article? Is it in the nail tip? Where is this devotion? Devotion is a feeling and fervour of the heart. So you are using this offer of materials as an instrument, as a provocation. And using them, I am offering it to God. So it is to generate devotion in your heart that these practices are resorted to as means or help. So you should smear the article with your devotion. What? Besmear it with devotion. When you besmear it with devotion, tadaham bhakti upahridam. It becomes a bhakti upahara. What? Upahara means whatever you give in the form of a offering or a present. Bhakti upahridam. It is besmeared with devotion. That devotion is from your heart. So it becomes acceptable to me. If it is lacking devotion, I will never touch it. So I am interested only in the devotion of your heart. You use a material in order to evoke it and generate it. I have no objection. Tadaham bhaktyupahridam ashnami. I eat it, he says. What do you mean by eating? With open mouth. Not that I put it in. Not that. I eat it. I accept it in full heart and full mouth. Ashnami prayatatmanaha. Provided. Shall I stop? Provided. Prayatatmanaha. You have sufficient control, moderation, regulation, reformation and refinement in your life. To be a devotee is not to be callous. To be a devotee is not to be haphazard in your behavior. You have to have a sterling character, a pure mind, a subtle and perceiving intelligence, a feelingful heart. You should not be selfish. You should be selfless. You should be otherish, not selfish. As you eat, others also eat. As are your children, so are others' children. As you, an individual, every individual in the world. Hunger is common to all creatures. Appeasement of hunger also is. So you have to become sarva bhuta hite rataha. You should be interested in the welfare of all creatures. This expression Krishna has used 3 times in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva bhuta hite rataha. Tadaham bhaktyupakritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. So what you offer is immaterial. How you offer is material. And while offering, is the heart and the mind surcharged with devotion? Do you have enough of fervour, feelingfulness, a feeling of proximity towards God, preferably oneness with God? Every article that you offer is left aside. God doesn't take it. If at all He has taken, it is your devotion-filled heart and the devotion it expresses. Now, this is a very limited offering in the pursuit of devotion. What is it? Out of the 24 hours of the day, 10 or 15 minutes you offer something saying, my dear God, please come and take. So you will climb about 6 inches in devotion every day and fall 1 full meter. Next day also you climb and fall. So you will be going to Patala every day. So what is the better offer or the right offer? Take 2 things into account. How much time are you a devotee? And with respect to whom are you a devotee? I don't know whether you are following me. With respect to whom are you a devotee? With respect to a limited God or an omnipresent God? So where is this God not present there? And where are you making an offer? You make an offer in front of an idol or in front of a picture. How much space the picture occupies? And what about the omnipresent God? So you feed Him only for the toe? You feed Him only for the eyelashes? When are you going to give Him the right full feed for God as He is? So He says, let us go to the 18th chapter. Yadaf pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmanatam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. Think a little about God, whom you are worshipping, whom you are trying to offer something to. Think of Him. Is not that God omnipresent? Omnipresent? So is He not present in you? Is He not present everywhere you are and whatever you do? So bring a little imagination or thoughtfulness about God. Krishna says, Yataha pravrittihi bhutanam, 1846. So, Yataha pravrittihi bhutanam, from where all the activities of beings are springing and emerging. From where all the activities are emerging. The earth is revolving, an atom inside is revolving. All the planets are moving in their trajectory. The other day I asked you about the speed of earth. Somebody told me that it is 30 miles or so per second, 30 or 300. No, second. So this morning I was calculating, I did not have the calculator. It's quite much. Everything is revolving. All these activities, inner, invisible, outer, visible, gross, subtle, still subtler, all of them, where from do they emerge? That is God. Yena sarvamidam tadam. By which presence all these are permeated or pervaded. This is the description of God. So you are worshipping that omnipresence from where all forms of existence have emerged and all of them are pervaded, including you. Your heart is beating because of God. Your lungs are breathing because of your grandfather. Your brain is sending its signals because of whom? So is not God proximate to you? You reject Him there and search Him there. There is no greater fool than you. You reject Him here and you search Him elsewhere. He is closely present. If you can do nothing, at least feel your pulse. This is sufficient devotion. Feeling your pulse, you spend 25 minutes, greatest devotion. And find out, poor heart, how many decades has it been beating? The heart beats and you light the lamp, or you lit the lamp and therefore the heart beats. Are you not missing that God who makes the heart beat? Huh? Huh? So he is saying, Yataha pravrittihi bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam, by which all these are pervaded. That omnipresence, how will you worship? Swakarmana tamabhyarchya. You worship Him by every bit of your activities. By your speech, all speech. By your thoughts, all thoughts. By your actions, all actions. All of them deserve to be a worship to the supreme omnipresent God. When you start doing it, you are a better devotee. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tadam swakarmana tamabhyarchya. Every action of yours should be a worship to God. Not that you select half an hour or 15 minutes, take some flowers, prepare some pudding and take it, place it in front. हो गया, मेरी भक्ति खत्म हो गई. Please stop. Stop all this. Worship God, taking God into consideration. Understand of what measure and magnitude He is. How He is present in every little bit of existence, everything in this world, and worship Him through every action. If you speak a lie, offer the lie to God. If you do a wrong action, cheat somebody, even cheating you offer to God. Don't say, that I will not offer. Make no exception. No exception. If you can remember God in good times, you can also remember God even more in bad times. Which is better? You should remember Him in good times and bad times, every time, and then say, if I have done good, it is because of you. If I incur bad, it is again because of you. If you want me to good, make me good. Make me good. Nobody else is there to make me good. You alone are there as the motivator, as the persuader, as a compeller, as the leader, as the instigator, as the inspirer. Nobody else is there. You alone are there. Now this kind of an all-fold devotion expressed through all your activities throughout the day is the next level. What is the still next level? Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe Arjuna tishtadi brahmayan sarva bhutani yandrarudhani mayaya tameva sharanam gacha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. 18th chapter, 61-62, 2 verses. Don't ask me where God is. Is there any God? Yes, God alone is. You don't require to say God. It is all alone is there. Any reference of yours, any word of yours, anything that you refer to or indicate, it is only God, God and God alone. God is all pervading, omnipresent. There cannot be two omnipresent entities, only one. And this world is also just like water cooled becomes ice and you can walk over it. This is only a consolidated expression of the most subtle and pervasive Lord. This world is not different from Him. Your body is not different from you, the inward presence. So he says, Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtadi. God is seated, residing, dwelling in the heart of all creatures. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtadi. Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. He is the one who rotates and revolves all beings. Who has formed your body? I would like to know. You are moving with a body. Primarily know who has formed your body. Has your mother done anything for it except eating for her stomach? Has the father done anything for it? The fetus has grown by its own intrinsic potential. It has formed the eyes, the nose, the ears, the tongue, the lips, everything. And it has come out of the womb with a view to interact with the world as an independent life form. All these are formulated by the inner presence, inner potential. So, God is seated in the heart of everyone. As if mounted on a wheel or a machine, He is revolving. The wheel of a vehicle revolves, but tell me what is the primary motion that results in it? It is within the gearbox. And that is moving the wheel. And the driver is seated there. So He is inside your body. And He is revolving you. So God is the center of the universe. And that center is within your heart. In the heart, the center of the universe you are carrying. Whether you recognize it or not. People who disbelieve in God, they also believe. If they disbelieve, they will have to believe in themselves. What is that themself or their self or I? Hridesha Arjuna tishtadi. Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. Now what you have to do? Tameva sharanam gacha. Seek refuge under Him alone. Say that. Seek refuge under Him alone. Therefore, to seek refuge under God, what should you do? You should run to the temple or you should close your eyes. When somebody scolds you, especially your married partner, don't reply. Close your eyes. You will be afraid. Close your eyes. As I always say, Rama and Ravana had the greatest encounter in Lanka. The first fight India fought outside the country. We have two unparalleled fights. One is outside the country in Lanka. The second is Mahabharata war within India. There it was with a foreign Ravana. Here it was with cousin brothers. We are never interested in a foreign piece of land, mind you. Rama vanquished Ravana and made Vibhishana the king and came back. Did not take anything from Lanka which he conquered. This is the ideal for you, my dear souls. We are not greedy. We are not possessive. We don't have any passion. We belong to a culture of self-generated contentment. We are the one who call the world, poo-poo the world. My dear world, you have nothing to give me. You are panchabhautik. All are inert things here. The sentience is within me. I will generate all the contentment I have from my own mind. I don't need you at all. As I always say, Kanthamiva Srimapi Kutsayantaha. Even Goddess Mahalakshmi, we will kick, go. You are already desultory and you have come here to go after a few days. Better come, don't come. I don't want you. You know, this strength of mind, this discernment, this viveka, this treasure, the art and process of evaluation we have, and we delight in this. Our kings have left thrones in search of this wonderful wisdom to make themselves ecstatic, abundant, and full. Nothing prevented them. a throne on which they sat for many years, they simply left and went. Kaikeyi asked Rama, go to Dandakaranya. He said, only this much. Before the sun sets, Rama will have left Ayodhya. I only want to talk to my mother and a few elders who will be a little depressed, console them, and I shall leave. And he left. He left. Then Dasharatha came, crawling. Rama! He told Sumantra, stop the chariot. What? Stop the chariot. He was driving the chariot. Sumantra was still the servant of Dasharatha. Rama said, don't stop. Speed on. If my father asks you, tell him that you did not hear him. Are you following me?
Yes.
Because, he says, because aggrieving situation should not be allowed to linger. This is a very miserable situation. My father has come. He did not explain, I am explaining. And he is calling me. Suppose we stop, the scene is going to be worse. So let us not linger with the miserable situation. Speed on and disappear. When the father asks you, you say, I haven't heard. This is India, my dear souls. We are so conscious of our ideal, so conscious of our value, so conscious of our goal of life. We are not to be tempted by anything whatsoever. We have this great wisdom with us. We have the Ramayana, we have the Mahabharata, we have the Upanishads. What more do you want? The greatest treasure of wisdom we have, and we cherish it, we nourish it. Not in the libraries and reading rooms of educational institutions, but in our own hearts, minds, lips. We cherish it. As long as we cherish it in this world, I don't think we have any fear or attraction. Tameva sharanam gacha. Arjuna surrendered before Krishna, and Krishna says, you seek refuge under your own indwelling presence. Tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. By the blessing of the indwelling presence, you will become peaceful, contented, and you will get a permanent abode. This is Bhagavad Gita. Would you like to recite? Ishvara sarva bhutanam Kruddeshe Arjuna tishtati Brahmayan sarva bhutani Yantrarudhani mayaya Tameva sharanam gacha Sarva bhavena bharata Tat prasadat param shantim Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam Sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. The other day I told you about that verse, Sarva karmanya visada kurvano madvyapashraya mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. Now, Krishna goes on disclosing one comprehensive formula after the other. Now I will come to the last. I am wondering whether you are mature and prepared to receive it. Lift your hands if you are mature. So what I say, you should accept. Don't question further. If you question it, you are not mature. See, we are discussing the subtle philosophy. And finally, Krishna has said, God, the common concept of the people, that concept, when you try to understand it as a reality, it is the inner, untransforming presence, the I, the self. Seek refuge under him. So Rama was fighting with Ravana. He discharged an arrow. One neck fell. He discharged the next at the other neck. That fell. But before then, the first neck sprouted. Arey, kya baat hai? What? If he goes on cutting one neck after the other, felling, the other will sprout. Now what shall I do? He stopped fighting, closed his eyes, and are you with me? Contemplated upon his own inner presence. What shall I do now? Nobody is there by the side. What shall I do to fell my enemy? Opened his eyes, took one arrow and discharged it right in the heart. Ravana fell. Because every neck is fed by the same heart. So the heart remains there. So one neck after the other, he had a special boon to that effect. So one arrow aimed at the chest, Ravana fell. What do you understand from this? Huh? Which God came and advised him? Every time your understanding is through your mind and intelligence. Unless your mind murmurs and your intelligence points, how can you understand? So when Ravana fell, see, I use three phases. Characteral elegance, behavioral majesty, and interactional excellence. These are the three phrases I have made. The whole purpose of spirituality is to build and preserve in you characteral elegance, behavioral majesty, and interactional excellence. These are the three treasures that you want. So Rama got down from the chariot. Ravana is lying. The life forces had not gone. He went, folded his hands, registered his respect and said, "My dear Ravana, you are a great emperor, much greater than I, the prince of Ayodhya, than me, the prince of Ayodhya. You might have learned many things, done many things. You must have a lot of enrichment and knowledge. Do you have anything to give me as the last word of message before the life forces depart from your body?" Ravana smiled and said, "Yes, I have. I have. As you say, I was a great man. I could have done everything and won everything I wanted. I had learned the Vedas. I could have done everything, taking recourse to spirituality and spiritual means also. But I did not do, only because I postponed it. I said, not today, let me do it after some time. After some time. This postponement and after some time has brought me to this stage. So what I tell you is, whenever you want to do anything, do it immediately, don't postpone it. Shubhasya shighram, ashubhasya kalaharanam. Whenever you want to do something bad, I want to scold him, postpone it. Postpone it, don't do it immediately. So postpone whatever is undesirable and do whatever is desirable instantly. This is the message I have to give you. My dear souls, this is the culture of India. This you should understand. We are not cheap people. The enemy who had abducted his wife, when he is about to die, he goes near him and asks him, "Do you have any message to give him?" And he gave the message, he accepted it. The whole of India has accepted it. Shubhasya shighram, ashubhasya kalaharanam. This is a homey word in our good and cultured families. I have not read it from a Shastra. I have heard it from common folk. This you should understand. Our culture is interwoven with the life of people. Lives of people. Many things my father has said. My father was not so much an educated person. My mother also was illiterate. She has taught me some Sanskrit verses without even a mistake in a syllable. So this is something very great. So, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtadi brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. Now, Krishna comes to the final close of the discussion. Sarvaguhyatamam bhuyaha shrinume paramam vachaha bhaktosi me dridhamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. 64 in 18th chapter. He says, Sarva guhyatamam bhuyaha shrinume paramam vachaha. So many secret pronouncements he has already made. Now he said guhya, guhyatara, guhyatama, etc. Secret, more secret, more secret. Now he says, Sarva guhyatamam bhuyaha. I will tell you the most secretive of all secrets. Why am I saying you? Ishtosi me dridhamidi. Because I love you, I am fond of you so much. To whom will you disclose your secrets? You may have a wife or a husband, but you may not tell her. Because you are not so fond of her, and she is also not so fond of you. They have their own world. So when you have somebody who is very near and dear to you, whom you can trust, automatically you will open your heart. Between two beloveds, what is there? Only talk, not eating. So he says, I tell you, what is that? Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pradijane priyosime. This is a swearing, a pradijna I undertake. All that you have to do is, you anointed me as a guru, teacher, and you became a disciple. All that I want you to do is, manmana bhava. Let your mind be constantly fixed on me. Mad bhaktaha, be a devotee of mine. Mad yaji, any sacrifice or offering you want to make it to me, to your guru. Mam namaskuru, prostrate if at all before me. Mame vaishyasi satyam te. By this process you can reach me. Pradijane priyosime. You are very dear to me, therefore I swear on this. So all the multiple things are gone. Vyavasayatmikya buddhi overtakes. He has only one thought, his guru, 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 guru. He will remember him. He will look for inspiration from him. He will offer him. He will prostrate before him. He will confess. He will say, he will speak, he will argue, he will discuss, he will question. Anything and everything. So you can hate God, there is no harm. But you should hate Him, not another person. You can love Him also. You can be competitive towards God. Yena kena prakarena, whatever may be the means, matihi Krishnaye niyojayet. Your mind should be engaged in Krishna or God. Whatever is the means or attitude. On the other side, it should be God. That's all. Nothing else. This is the secret. Then he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shujaha. This is a verse which people discuss only superficially. I don't think that essential meaning of the verse is ever brought about by anyone. Sarva dharman parityajya. Say. The word dharma means ethical notes. So there are so many different forms of ethical statements. There are many. They are confusing. You may sometimes wonder, is it ever possible for a human to practice, observe or adhere to all of them? So simply leave. So leave the multiple ethical codes. Leave the multiple ethical codes. And then what will you do? Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Seek refuge under me, the single. Seek refuge under me, the single. What does it mean? Is Krishna alive now? So you want to search out Krishna and then he is gone like any other person. What is surviving is his statement. So the statement has got its own intrinsic value. He is presenting a truth. That truth should be extracted. What is the truth? Sarva dharman parityajya. The thought of the many you surrender and leave. Your mind should not culture anymore multiple thoughts, multiple dependencies, multiple associations. There is altogether only one existence, the omnipresent God, the omnipresent soul. The soul and God being omnipresent, where is the question of two or many? Who is practicing? The omnipresent God in you practicing. And whom are you wanting to achieve? Again God. So it's only one. So if you can get infused by the singular nature of presence, that means you surrender the many. So the vagaries of the many you surrender, overcome, and let your mind be flooded, inundated by the thought of one. And that one is present everywhere. You cannot miss it. You cannot remember it. Who remembers? When you forget. If you forget, then you have to remember. If you don't forget, then do you have to remember? Whom will you remember? Something that you have forgotten. Have you at any time been distanced from God? No. Because God is only one. There is no question of distancing. There is no question of separation. So that oneness idea, if it infuses your mind, automatically the many distractions will flee. So suspend or dismiss the many distractions and hold on to only one. When you have done it, that itself is liberation. Liberation from the stifling of the many. The many thoughts are so distractional. That is what stifles you. So leave the thought of many and hold on to the thought of one. Aham tva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuja. Once you have done this, no Krishna need come to liberate you. Because this itself is liberation. So this is the intrinsic truth in Krishna's pronouncement. Krishna take away, but the pronouncement is intrinsically valid and true. See, our mind is surviving on multiplicity. Even if you believe in God, you feel, oh, is he remember me or forsaken me? Should I send a reminder? On the one hand, you will say he is an all-knower. And then say, remember my child, here is the offering. Second child, this is the offering. The first needs marriage, the second needs employment, the third is a foreign trip. And you give. What is this? You are bribing God? Can you not think better? Can we not be better and more pure? So never expect anything from God. Never pray to God even. Do not even remember Him, but recognize Him in everything. Recognize Him in everything. In everything. In the day, in the night, in you, in the others, in good, in bad. Everything. All these things are not produced by us, preserved by us. They are produced by God. If a person is bad, where from did he get the bad instincts? Did he generate them by himself? After all, the world is the one book of lesson for everybody. So let us not blame anyone at all. If you are good, thank God. Thank God. I always used to think, many people are committing mistakes. The thief is thieving. If the thieving tendency enters me, I will also begin to thieve. That there is no thieving tendency in me, does it give me such a sanction as to ridicule others? Huh? Hey Baba, what is this? When I was staying in Madras, Padmabhushan Ganpati's house, at night, some sound was there from my table. I thought it was a rat. So I produced some sound. So it stopped. It again started. Then I did not worry about it. Next day, Padmabhushan Ganapati came to my room. He had also kept some article. He was opening the bar. He was producing so many sounds. So I asked him, what happened? My pant is missing. My shirt is missing. Acha. You know, it is window. The box is kept here. Its lid is closed. So he cannot reach it. So he somehow opened the lid and inserted the hand, and he was trying to manipulate. So it took some time. So that was the sound that I heard. So I heard like this. Actually, police every day comes to the house and signs the beat book. So he told the police, many months passed. After so many months, he said, Pontivisar police station. The station officer wants you, Swamiji, if you can, you go there to identify your watch. My watch was lost. So we went there. There, one young boy came. He was from Kerala. The moment I saw him, he was brought there and they were asking me to identify my watch. There were hundreds of watches there. I said, I cannot look at it and identify. It's gone. So when I told, my dear boy, what are you doing? Can you not become a better boy? In what way can I help you? If you need some money, let me know. This is what I told him. A very young, promising boy. Yes. Just see. Oh, that scene is even now in me. A little young boy, maybe 20, 23 years old. So suppose the thieving tendency had cropped into me. I will also become a thief. So let us not blame anybody in this world. You can blame God. I have no objection. Because that godliness will overpower you, not be your blame. But never blame people. Now in your house, all members are good. In the neighboring house, not. Why are you frowning at them? You are not to be merited for what you have. And the others are not to be demerited because of what they have. So this kind of a goodness you must have. Sarvadharman parityajya mamegam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami mashujaha. Krishna completed his statement. Then he asked him, see, you should be careful. My dear Arjuna, did you hear all that I said? With sufficient attention. How is your mind now? Have you still doubts? Then Arjuna said, no, I have heard you very well. Nashto moha, my delusion is gone. Smritir labdha, I have got back my memory. Tat prasadan mayachyuda, by virtue of your own blessing. Sthitosmi, I am very well seated now, stable. Gata sandeha, my doubt is gone. Karishye vachanam tava. What you suggest, I shall do. Not one Mahabharata war. A score of them I shall fight. A score of them I shall fight, he said. So this is a small piece of information about the whole decline and fall of Guru dynasty. 2.5 hours of conversation in the war field where Arjuna was to be treated for the grief he was suffering from and for the confusion and delusion his intelligence was overwhelmed by. The purpose is fulfilled. Arjuna is asked by Krishna. Arjuna answers him. Now there was Sanjaya standing by his side, the third man. Now Sanjaya concludes it saying that I have heard the conversation. It is very stimulating. It is very exhilarating. It is very ecstatic. I also saw the Vishwarupa with a lot of horripilation. All that I can tell you is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shrihi Vijayo Bhudir Dhruva Nidir Madir Mama. We must have not one but many Krishnas who are able to explain the truth right at the point of crisis to whomever wants it. We must have a Krishna. Mere Krishna will not be sufficient. He is only a perceiver, a seer. But we must also have an Arjuna, a valorous fighter. Fighter with his bow and arrow up and active. Whatever is justice, that justice should be ensured by physical action. If it is resistance, by resistance. If it is by advancement, it is by advancement. And that resistance or anything whatsoever should be clearly directed by a full vision of truth. That truth-seeing person also should be there. So where there is Krishna, a Yogeshwara Krishna, and where there is a valorous Arjuna with his bow and arrow, there alone there can be justice, propriety, prosperity, well-being, and peace. This is the conclusion. So this is a call for activity. Generally, spirituality is meant to ask you, keep quiet and just go to the forest. This is not a call like that. This is what Krishna did for Uddhava. Leave everything, my dear Uddhava. Go to the peaks of Badrinath, Himalayas, and stay there. Have your bath in Alakananda river. Be graced by the cool and comfortable wind there. Think of me always and wait for the fall of the body. Don't stay in Dwaraka anymore. I will leave it. And on the 10th day, it will be flooded. It will be inundated by the sea. This place is no more good. The whole society is going to be victimized by vicious thinking. So go before I go. That is for sending Uddhava away to the forest. Here it is to ask Arjuna to remain up and active and to fight the most bloody war for 18 days, destroying 4.5 million warriors minus 10. Understand the difference between the two Gospels. The same truth is exposed, one for retiring from active life, another for taking up a more vigorous active life. Okay, one more Shibiram has come to an end along with Guru Purnima. I am happy that so many of you have come here and you have participated in the session. Very good. Today in the afternoon we have the Annavastra Dana Satram, the function in the ashram. We are expecting about between 5,000 and 6,000 families to assemble here to receive whatever we give. Still arrangements are to be made, articles are to be shifted, the prasada to be given to them, sweet has to be packed. All this you will have to do patiently with sufficient attention and devotion. Our contact and this association, particularly this pursuit of spiritual wisdom, discipline, purity, reformation, refinement and enlightenment. This is an endless process. It is not going to stop tomorrow, either for me or for them or for the others. Until the last breath of our life, we shall be like this. Tuned to the inner Lord, tuned to the inner presence, never getting distance from it. Feel confident that you are surrounded by divinity. You are penetrated by divinity. You are in the lap and care of divinity. This is the confidence I want you to have. It is a discovery. It is a realization. It is the crowning glory of human life. We are all born as humans only for this. Not to eat, dress, marry, beget children and die. No, not at all. We have got our own heredity. That heredity is a human one. Even the jackals, the animals, the elephants, the whale, their bodies are far bigger. They can never do any introspection to find out what is within the body. This human alone has got the privilege, right, potential and possibility to do so and realize it and let your life be in the light of this inner realization. When you do like this, the whole world will be purified, mind you. By your presence, by your feet, by your walk. The whole world will be purified. All the others are putrefying the world. You will be purified. Your family will be better. Your children and grandchildren also should have and will have a better heredity, inheritance. So preserve and cherish it. Learn Bhagavad Gita. Learn Bhagavad Gita by reading it, trying to understand the meaning. Also study Sanskrit, spending at least 6 months working knowledge of Sanskrit you will have. I only suggest 2 books for you to read 100 times. By then the Sanskrit will become familiar. What are those books? Dhatu Rupa and Shabda Manjari. One is a book of nouns, another is a book of verbs. You have to simply read. Simply read. Say at least 100 times. Then you will be very familiar with the different forms of nouns. You know, just like to, of, by, from, on, all these prepositions are there. These prepositions are used as case ending in Sanskrit. So, these things. And do well. Be sufficiently graced. As I always say, let there be a hand of protection for all of you, wherever you go and whatever you do. And may the supreme reality, the inner presence, be revealed to you as much and as soon as possible. Harihi Om Tats. Jai Guru. Jai Guru. Shandasvabhavamajaratmakameka satyam samvitpadam nirupamam kalanavihinam antarbihischa bahudha vyavaharyamanam taddevameva mama sarvam aham tadeva taddevameva mama sarvam aham tadeva prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nityabodhaswarupam param nischalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranaumi. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi. Harihi Om Tats. Jai Guru.